Good morning. We're talking with Bob Hunt about the cost of medical devices. Bob's the president of Galorath Professional Services Organization. He's dedicated decades of his life to the analysis and reduction of cost and cost optimization. Bob has worked with organizations such as SAIC, the U.S. Army, and others, and he's the president of Galorath Professional Services Organization. Bob, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. Well, I want to talk today about an analysis that Dan worked with myself, Joe Hamaker, and Richard Lund on. And we'll talk about Galorath, but just a little bit about Galorath's background. Our slogan is "The Future Delivered," and we really began in 1979 as a consulting firm committed to improving the process. We kind of saw firsthand that the shortcomings of a manual estimating process didn't work. And CAD was created as a way to see into the future, to actually predict the cost and schedule for complex systems. Now, we have decades of development, research and development into helping organizations better plan and control project cost. And we think that by leveraging our technology, we could really address some of the major problems facing today. So we use predictive analytics. We have a suite of sophisticated hardware software models. We combine those with our expertise and our professional consulting services. And while our heritage comes from the military aerospace community, we really are at the cutting edge of the theory of machine learning and predictive analysis, predictive analytics, that is what will be, and prescriptive analytics, what to do. And we looked at the current situation with ventilators and thought our tools, techniques, and processes make it completely appropriate for us to potentially address the cost issues associated with medical devices. So that being said, I'll get right into the meat of the presentation. First thing we did was we took a complete data package of a current ventilator, built CAD models, complete designs to explain exactly what the system looked like. We then went into a detailed description of each of the items and how they fit together, how the system operated, so that we pretty much understood exactly what was going on from a technological and engineering standpoint in the ventilator community. So we created a CAD model. We did solid model backups. We completed mass tables, and we did the cost model rolling up the work breakdown structure or product description. And we were actually using the Medtronic's technical data. Now, what we suspected was that we would be able to show that medical devices could be developed quicker and at a lower price than they were currently being sold on the market today. Well, lo and behold, we used our SEER for hardware model along with SEER for manufacturing. We came up with a research and development cost of about $3.6 million, which frankly is right in line with what we think is happening today. We talked about building 1,200 units in a 4-month time frame. And when that was all sorted out, we had an amortized system cost of about $20,000 a unit. Now, it turns out that that $20,000 is very close to what's being sold on the market today. And so in many respects, our analysis validated what was going on in the medical device community for ventilators. We did a complete roll-up, and I know some of these charts would be hard to see, but we did a complete cost analysis at the piece part level, came out with a total cost of about 19.3 pounds. Again, that's very much like what's being put on the market today. And we did a roll-up, and you can see what our actual model looks like in terms of the what we call K-bases, knowledge bases, and where this product came from. So we believe that we showed that there were reasonable numbers that were being projected for ventilators, but that led us to several other questions that we need to address. Those questions were, is there price gouging? Why is there such a big difference in cost for similar items? Can ventilators be built with off-the-shelf items? And should we expect the cost per item to drop significantly as quantity increases? So I'll try to address each of those. Yes, there is some price gouging, and I think that goes on at any time when there's a crisis in the market. We believe that price gouging is being managed and identified and stopped, but yes, there's some of that out there. That particularly holds true with things like masks and gloves in the current crisis today. One of the questions we were asked is, why is there such a big difference in cost for similar items? So let me just jump ahead a minute. We said the ventilator, the MedTech ventilator, should cost about $20,000, while there's a Ventec ventilator on the market that sells for about $40,000. And the best analogy I can give you is that a Toyota will get you from point A to B very efficiently, very effectively, and a Lexus will get you from point A to B very efficient and very effectively. The difference is there are some extra features in a Lexus that the buyer may or may not feel are worth the cost. In the case of ventilators, there are some additional items. I have highlighted an O2 concentrator that in theory provides more efficient delivery of oxygen to the patient on the ventilator. But some people may not feel that that extra cost is worth it. And that's a decision that's left up to the doctor and the patient. So there are various types of ventilators that cost more than another based on the technology that's being applied. But one of the biggest issues that we've come up with is, could a ventilator be built with off-the-shelf items? Could I go to my local hardware store or big box store, Lowe's, Home Depot, and get all the equipment and assemble that equipment and create a homemade or off-the-shelf ventilator? Well, the short answer to that question is yes, you probably could. But even if we look at what's in the news today, we see that there were 5 people killed in a fire in Russia, and it believes that that fire was caused by faulty ventilators. So while I could put together pieces of equipment that might cost less, maybe to the factor of like $2,000 an item, I'm not sure that I would want to trust my life to that untested, low quality control ventilator itself. So while it can be done, it doesn't meet the quality control and testing standards that we would expect from medical devices. Now, should we expect the cost per item to drop significantly as quantity increases? And that's normally called learning theory. And according to that theory, there should be a consistent drop in cost every time the quantity of production doubles. And that is true when you're dealing with a process that's highly mechanical. In the case of a ventilator, it's pretty much a man-assembled item rather than a mass production type of item. So while there could be some off-the-shelf, some reduction in cost as the quantity increases, once you've amortized the startup cost, the research and development, you probably will not see much cost decrease per unit. So what conclusions do we draw? Well, first of all, the medical device economy is what I would term a pass-through economy. Cost is not a significant driver in the decision process. From a doctor's perspective, he's not thinking about cost, he's thinking about the health of the patient. And frankly, I want my doctor to think about the health of the patient when I'm the patient. Hospitals have not been principally concerned with cost since cost passed through to the patient or insurer. And ultimately, the patient or insurer covers the cost, but that is long after procurement decisions have been made. Long after the decision has been made to buy a specific ventilator, does the patient see that? So the medical economy itself drives some of the issues related to cost in the medical device community. Now, what are the key takeaways from this very short discussion? Well, the first takeaway is hopefully we are at or near the end of the crisis caused by the COVID-19 virus. But we will need to address the stockpile of national health items, personal protective equipment, and devices, and we'll need to determine what needs to be added. And we need to ensure that we become more cost conscious in the procurement of medical devices, personal protective equipment in that decision-making process. We think we have demonstrated that Galorath and our set of predictive analytic tools and our consulting services are proven assets that can help the community and the nation move forward to efficiently and effectively develop and procure medical devices. Now, again, this has been a very brief discussion. For more information, you could contact Dan Galorath, the CEO of Galorath, or myself, Bob Hunt, the president of Galorath Federal. I included our email addresses there at the bottom. And we believe that our process and tools allow us to significantly impact the pricing and procurement decisions in current medical devices. Dan, have I left anything out of that?
Bob, that was a very interesting presentation. Thank you so much. I think the bottom line was that cost should be considered when we're procuring these things, when we're designing these things, and that the storage costs and other things are all necessary. So the next time we have a pandemic or whatever the next emergency is, we're stockpiled properly and it's all cost effective. Thank you so much.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.